Hi, Ryno. Welcome to Offstage.
Hi there, how are you?
I'm good, thanks. And how are you?
I'm good, thank you. Thank you for having me on your podcast.
It's honestly such a pleasure and a privilege having you on my show because I mean, you are such an amazing ambient prog master. So, how did you get into going into that direction of the music scene?
I've always just enjoyed instrumental music through different styles of music I've played. I've experimented with a lot of sort of progressive type stuff and thinking out the box a bit and so on. So I suppose it was a natural path to take. And yeah, it's just been a good journey. And I've also just over time gotten into like a lot of ambient musicians, kind of music that work well for movies and stuff like that. So yeah, and just combine that with my experience from metal bands and a lot of different other things, and that's what we got. Yeah,
So, it also shows a lot in your music that you've grown up and kind of reflected that kind of music. So, more rock music into your like your ambient music. And was that always the path for you, or did you kind of also want to go into like a more relaxed kind of like jazzy kind of ambient music style?
I think it was just through circumstance. I ended up doing a lot more music on my own, just for the period that I was putting the album together and putting these songs together, and also just the love for that type of music. But I'm still involved, like in the heavier side of things. I do have some other projects in the works, but yeah, I think just where I was at, especially and what I was listening to, and performing as a solo actor, is the kind of stuff that I really enjoyed playing. So yeah, I think it I won't say it was a predestined thing, but it was definitely a natural progression, if you want to call it that.
So how did you get into music? Like, did you as a kid know that this is what you want to do, and did you take classes for it, or how did you get to where you are at the moment?
I have always been interested in music, especially when I was younger. Listening to a lot of music that was thrown on me by my cousins and people like that. As far as getting into music, I was probably more in my late teens, so I maybe started a little bit later. Actually, I thought I'd be a drummer originally. I do play drums, but it's not my instrument of choice. But yeah, so the guitar thing I suppose started happening when I was 16, and yeah, in terms of lessons and stuff, I've learned from people, but I haven't gone for any official lessons. But I do teach guitar now, which is quite ironic. But yeah, I've always just figured out ways to teach myself and sort of develop my own playing and get through the boring stuff to learn to enjoy the fun stuff later. So yeah.
That is so cool. So, when I listened to your music first, and I don't know if this is a great analogy for you, but what came to mind was the kind of music that is played on August Rush. So, for my kind of generation, it is amazing to hear that there's actually solo artists doing this kind of thing and making a lifestyle out of this. Have you always been like experimenting with the different sounds and the sounds that you can make on guitars?
Yes, I think you could say that even when playing with bands and stuff. Always like to approach the instrument from a different way. The analogy is good that you're using for August Rush. I've heard it numerous times, especially because of the solo fingerstyle stuff that I do. That's when I'm playing more on the acoustic. But yeah, the playing style is similar, is somewhat influenced from the movie and artists like that. In the movie, the person that does the playing is actually it's a woman named Kaki King, and because her hands look like a boy's hands, that's why they used her to do that. But yeah, she's a phenomenal player, and I'm quite involved in that world. And you're quite right. There's like a whole community of us that are involved with that and do that. And yeah, I suppose it's just a way to try get a whole band going out from one person through one wooden box guitar, if you want to call it that, and yeah, approaching different ways to try and get different sounds that you might get rather from a keyboard or whatever, but you're getting it out on a guitar now. So yeah, I think your analogy was good. August Rush is a great movie, and the music in it is amazing. So yeah, thank you.
So I don't know if you know the artist Ruan Graaf, but he also puts out music such as yourself.
Yeah,
So my question is, do you listen to many other artists that produce the same kind of ambient music as you do?
definitely. I do know Ruan as well. If I'm not mistaken, he plays guitar for Is that
Joe
Afrikaans?
Black.
Yeah, Stray Black. That's right. Yeah, I do follow him on Facebook. But yeah, in terms of ambient artists, that's where my love for it started. You know, I come from a metal background. I'm still involved in that, but just finding out all these other artists that do this amazing music. That's what it is. Like I steal with my ears. I hear beautiful stuff being played, and I want to do it myself. So definitely, there's a lot of good people out there in South Africa. There's Guy Buttrey, who's a massive influence and a wonderful guy. And overseas, there's a lot of great post rock bands like Caspian or Sleep Makes Waves. So yeah, there's plenty of inspiration out there, and definitely did play a big part of for me taking that path with my music for sure.
So you've used your influences and your favorite, well, some of your favorite artists to inspire you with your new album called Howling Rush. So how did you kind of look at it from that perspective and took like parts of like who they are to you into your creative and writing process?
Some of it's quite self-explanatory. Like, you know, Guy Buttrey does the fingerstyle stuff that I do as well, and he's got a very strong sort of African flavor to it. You know, being South African. So, like in some of my songs, like Tsakani and stuff, I think that definitely comes through quite strong. You know, got a bit of a Maskandi feel and stuff. Not that I'm a Maskandi player in any way, but I definitely do look up to that music in many ways. So anything that I can pull from it and use would be amazing, you know. And yeah, in terms of the post rock bands and stuff, it's just I suppose I take the sounds, what I hear from them, and I try to do it my own way, not necessarily to copy it, but just to create the same kind of emotions that they do. Because when you listen to that kind of music, you know, it's not lyric based, so you feel what the artist is trying to say. So that at the same time, that's what I'm trying to do as well. I'm trying to rather let you experience an emotion as opposed to telling you what to feel, or telling you, you know, the story behind the song.
Exactly. And also, when, well, not always, but sometimes you can get tied down to a certain song when lyrics are added to it. So when it's a sad song and the lyrics are sad, it's kind of that vibe of like you can only listen to this when you are sad. But with your kind of music and ambient music, it's like whenever you feel like it, you can take the song and make it your own.
Yeah, I think that's a good way of looking at it. Because one thing that I say over and over is, I don't want to tell you what to feel. I want you just to feel it and experience it. And yeah, I think you're quite right. Certain lyrics and songs, it could be connected in many ways to certain moods or whatever you're going through. I think you're quite right with that. So yeah, with ambient stuff, it could maybe touch you in different ways at different times. It could help you through sad times, but it could also uplift you and make you feel happy, and literally be the same song, but it rather enhances your mood than influences it, I think.
That was a great explanation to what kind or what message you want to send along with your music. So, with your album that you just released, Howling Rush, you had writer's block for 2 years. That is intense. But how did you deal with this?
It was quite a difficult and arduous process. Some of the earlier songs, you know, they came through the hard grind, but luckily, like at the end of it, it all just started coming together. So that was good. The one headache with that was I was then overwhelmed with ideas and had too much going on. But the producer of our album, Daniel Philogene, he helped quite a lot with that because he's quite straightforward and isn't shy to say if something isn't working or whatever. So that helped to sort of work through that mess a bit. But yeah, the process before that was not great. My record that I released before that came together a lot more naturally, I suppose. But yeah, I think what's come out with Howling Rush is quite nice. The struggle seemed to have influenced the music in a positive way. I think you can hear the work that went into it. So that was at least one positive from that writer's block.
Yeah, and you used or you had 10 special guest artists on your tracks and who featured on the album. And these are all people that you are influenced by and whom
Yes.
inspires you. So, can you tell us more about the artists that you worked with?
So two of the main guys are Ashvin Lodgett and Ron House. They regulars that perform with me when I do my shows as a trio. So Ash plays bass for me and he does a couple of songs on sax, or it shows on the album he does one song on sax. And then Ron is my drummer. Both very good guys, and we've built a great relationship as well. And we just sort of met through our musical journeys. There's Sia Ngubo and Julian Letard. They two cousins that play on there. They're actually music students of mine. Sia adds some extra bass on certain songs, and Julian adds keys on a couple of songs on the album. There's Nathaniel and Ben Brothers that come from a local band called The Name on a Drum, band here from KZN as well. fantastic guys, absolutely crazy talented musicians. And yeah, so on the title track Howling Rush, they provide some wonderful vocal melodies and harmonies, and some electric guitar and drums. There's Ryan Rudd from the United States. He features on the song Slow Burning Fire. He's also an ambient artist, and he's had his music on TV shows like Criminal Minds and stuff like that. So yeah, awesome guy that I made friends with also just through the musical journey. Craig Borrell and Ross Tapson, they endorsed by the same guitar company that I'm endorsed with. So it was an honor to have them perform on a song with me as well. Craig and I have become online friends. We haven't met in person yet, but he's a very, very cool guy. And Ross Tapson is like a literal guitar hero of mine. Like I watched this guy when I was a teenager back in the day. So to have him on the album was quite a humbling moment, and very awesome. And then there's
That must have been so surreal.
yeah, no, it was. It was crazy. I mean, it's if you've seen how good Ross is as well, it could just as well have been any international artist. It's seriously, yeah, it was a big honor. And then the last guest, the actual producer of the album, Daniel Philogene, he is a guest on the one song called Sparks, which was the first single from the album, but he goes under the pseudonym The Area Kid. So yeah.
That is amazing that you have so many people and so many various artists to join in on your album. And looking back, what has the journey of the 2 years writing blog and working with all these amazing talents taught you?
Well, working with the guys is great because my solo career started kind of being frustrated with musicians that I performed with bands that just ended badly. So to be able to work with people again is like it's taught me to just deal with problems again with performing with guys, and also gotten me to be interested to join bands and stuff again. And but also you just learn from them musically and as people. I mean, it's quite a big group of people and quite a diverse group of people. So there's lots to learn there in that regard, and beyond music. And yeah, the writer's block, as I said, I think the challenge of that comes out in the songs, and it shows that hard work was put in. I think that was a positive thing at the end of the day.
So you are the guitarist of two different bands. So the first one is Truth Decade, and then the second one is Voicelessness. So can you tell us more about these bands?
Okay, so Voicelessness is pretty much still just my solo stuff. That's with Ron and Ash that I mentioned earlier as a guest. So we do perform under the name Voicelessness sometimes. I think when you're booking for festivals, sometimes it makes a bit more sense for them to book a band for the main stage. So yeah, Voicelessness is just an extension of my solo stuff. So whatever, all the full band stuff that you hear on the album, that will perform as Voicelessness normally. Truth Decade is actually a new project that I've started with a good friend of mine, Warren Jones. And yeah, that's going back to my metal roots there. So it's nice and heavy and fast. And yeah, that's quite a new journey. We haven't performed as a band yet, but we're busy getting stuff together and we're busy getting a bit of a social media profile going nice. Hopefully that will pick up nicely, and when we can start performing again and life goes a bit more back to normal, then we can start pushing that too.
So, with your project Truth Decade, would you say that there's a future, like a very big future for thrash music in South Africa? Because I mean, I personally don't know a lot of thrash metal bands because you only see the normal pop music. So, would you say that that is kind of a door that you are trying to open for South Africa?
Well, there's always been a metal scene within South Africa, and it has its ups and downs, but I think for the most part it has picked up. But like anything, I'm not really with that music trying to attract to the pop crowds. So if we can make an impact with the local metal community and just connect with them, then that's fine, and then hopefully branch out into more international things. That's a nice thing about the internet nowadays. We can get our music out everywhere. So, and also a lot of local metal bands have actually done really well. You don't judge it by the commercial circles, but if you look at a band like Volvadinia, they're not necessarily the same style. They're actually a lot heavier than what we are, but I mean, they've had massive international success, So if they had an example to go by, that I suppose we would consider following a similar path to that, maybe not the same. And I know what they're doing is very popular at the moment, but they just prove all bands like them and Deities Muse and so on, that there's plenty of them that have proven that you can do amazing things. So I think that's just it, just trying to attract to what's there. A pop person's not really ever going to listen to thrash metal, or maybe you can convert one or two, but yeah. So I think we'll just stick to trying to attract to the people that are interested in it. And in terms of the more commercial stuff, I think my solo stuff works quite well for that. And I've played some festivals that are generally more pop related crowds or commercial crowds. So yeah, bread buttered on both sides, I think.
Because I mean, like you said, you can basically open the door for more musicians such as that are in kind of the same genre as you, and you can also play festivals. So that's really amazing that you can be so versatile with your music. and not be stuck in one specific thing.
I think it's good. I think one of the problems back in the day, a lot of musicians would sort of put themselves in a box with one style, and I don't think that's necessary. I think you can do numerous things and take on numerous projects. I love music for the sake of music. I love metal music, and I love ambient music, and I even love some pop music. You know what I mean? So why sort of limit myself to just one thing? That's the way I look at it. I mean, even my solo stuff with Howling Russian stuff, it's quite niche, but it's pretty accessible everywhere. So work the advantages, and hopefully I can just get it out to as many people as possible. And that's pretty much what it's all about.
So, what festivals have you played so far?
Done Smoking Dragon twice. 2019 we played the main stage, which was really nice, and the year before that we played on the Ripple stage. As my solo stuff completely, as Ryno Theron, I've performed with the Sean Lampilla at Splashy Fen, Montecille Music Festival in KZN, which we've done twice as well. So yeah, there's been a few, but Splashy Fen and Smoking Dragon are probably the highlights.
So, with which artists did you perform on those festivals?
Oh, as I said, Splashy Fen was with the Nashala Mpilo trio. So that was Nashala Mpilo, myself, and Josh Swanson. And yeah, Smoking Dragon was Voicelessness both times, technically my solo stuff. And yeah, Montecille Festival, I did one completely on my own, and I did one with Voicelessness as well as the trio. Actually, the Smoking Dragon one I did with Voicelessness, we also had Nat and Ben from the Name on the Drum join us to make it a 5-piece band, just to get a bit of a bigger vibe going. So
What would you say is the most stressful thing to do? So, between performing in front of 5,000 people or creating a live stream video by yourself and just trying to put on a concert like that?
I've performed a lot, over the last couple of years. So like you get a lot of different experiences. I still get nervous before every show. I know people don't believe it, but I do. In terms of live shows, I've always found smaller audiences a bit more challenging. I think it's just a mental thing. If you're playing in front of a lot of people, you feel like a rock star. So the confidence levels are a bit higher. Whereas an intimate show, it's a lot easier for your mistakes to stand out, I suppose. And I think I feel very similar about live streams. I did my first two live streams quite recently. I did one with some people from Australia, which was for mostly an Australian crowd. So that was quite nerve wracking, and it was early in the morning, which was weird. And then I did one on my Instagram page, I think last Sunday, and it was a great experience and wonderful. But like before, I was actually trembling like a little bit because it's weird, like you normally feed off people's reactions. So like, and it's quite awkward, you can ramble on a bit and get a bit strange, and the camera doesn't miss anything. So my experience of the one proper live stream I've done was great, and I definitely want to do more. But yeah, I love feeding off a crowd and having people right by you. So I'd say the live streams are a bit more nerve-wracking for me personally.
Because the thing is, you can't really interact with the people and like talk to them. Like, yes, you can read the comments, but that's not immediately. So when you are at a live concert and the people are standing in front of you, you can kind of like converse with them. And now it's like yourself, and you need to present yourself in front of a camera.
That's weird, huh? Yeah.
Yeah, because I saw the one that you posted, and I remember you saying in the beginning, like, you're so nervous for this.
Oh yeah, yeah. No, thank you for watching that, by the way. But yeah, no, I was super nervous. Like once I get going, it's all right. But
As an artist during a lockdown, what would you say you have learned the most out of all of this?
picking up my online presence, which was much needed. Not that I was bad with it before, but I'm a live performer, and I perform a lot, so it's something that I feed on, and it was also a decent way to make some good money. Consistent shows, it helps in a business aspect, but COVID-19 has definitely shown how quickly that can go away. So you need to tackle different avenues, and if your online presence isn't strong enough, then you need to do something about it. So yeah, that's what I've done, and I've hooked up with David Oosthuizen, Devo, and from Devo Graphic, and he's done an amazing job to help build that up. And yeah, I think that if I can say there's something I've learned, is that I needed to do that. I needed to expand on that in many different ways and look for different revenue streams and different ways to reach people and connect. And it's been great because it's gotten a lot more sort of play on different radio streams and stuff like that. So it's amazing. Get your music out there and you get to connect with people all around the world. But yeah, I think that's something that some people, especially, you know, I wouldn't. I'm not one of the younger musicians out there, so it's something that you can learn from. Like take advantage of the internet. That's that's what I learned from that.
So earlier on, you mentioned David from Devographic.
Yeah.
So how important has he been in your music journey?
He has been super important, especially with this lockdown. I actually wish I approached him a bit earlier, even. But regardless of that, it's been a wonderful journey, and he's an awesome guy. That really, he's a manager that has a genuine interest in the artists that he's working in. So that makes a difference as well. He's quite passionate about it. He's passionate about the music and the work you do. And yeah, I think he's taken my music and me as a person and stuff to places that I haven't been able to get to before. So I've only got good and positive things to say. And definitely getting my music played all over the show and stuff like that. It's great. It's a good feeling. It lets you feel validated and makes it feel like what you're doing is worth it. So yeah, I think he's been a great asset, and I definitely look forward to continue working with him in the future. For me.
So as an artist and as a solo performer sometimes,
Mm.
would you say that it is very important to have a manager and someone that does your marketing for you and pushes you in the right way?
Definitely. And yeah, I do actually mostly perform solo, which makes it even more odd. When you work with a band, you got sort of people that you can lean on, and that's also good. But I think a manager, even in the aspect of a band, makes a good mediator, so look at what your genuine best interests are, whereas members of a band or whatever, there'll always be a personal agenda in some way there. So a manager can look at it with fresh eyes, and definitely help you to push towards a decision that's the correct one. And for marketing and stuff, it's like if I had to do all the stuff that, for example, Deva does for me, I wouldn't have time to work on music or to create. You know what I'm saying, or practicing. So I think it is a good route to take. A lot of people do it on their own, and they do a very good job of it, but it can be a bit taxing if you're trying to pack everything on at once. And that's exactly what I did before I met David, for example. And it was good, but it just wasn't getting the reach it should. So I definitely think if you can find someone that can do the job properly for you, and they know their stuff and they're very good at their marketing and stuff, and you got the funds available, go for it. That's my opinion.
So how would you say an artist should approach someone to start marketing and managing their band? Because not a lot of people kind of do it properly or they do it abruptly. So that can go wrong so fast. So do you have any advice as to how to approach someone if you want them to be your manager?
Well, I think you spoke about people that don't do the job that well. That's definitely something to look out for. Because I mean, I was always apprehensive back in the day for managers and stuff because just from other bands and stuff that you just see the horrible job that some people do. And I think a lot of people want to be a manager, but they don't really know what it takes, how much work goes into it. So, yeah, in that regard, and how to approach it. I mean, how to approach a person, I think just be honest and just be honest with what your expectations are and what you can afford to pay them or what kind of deal you can have. But I think also look at credentials. You know what I mean? Don't just go for the first person that offers you the world type of thing. Someone like David, for example, or many of the other people out there that do a great job. Look at their online stuff. Look at the presence. Look at the stuff that they're doing for the bands, and if the results speak for themselves, and that's someone that you want to work with. For me personally, Deva was recommended by another person that I did a podcast with. But before that, I saw all the amazing work he was doing with Robin Ferguson and just how her presence jumped up and the amazing things that she was doing. And she's also a solo instrumental artist herself. So I thought, okay, well, this guy's doing this with her. I'm pretty sure he could, get similar results with my stuff. So yeah, look at the person's sort of credentials and their achievements. Look at what they've got out. And as far as approaching them, just be honest. I mean, with Deva, I thought, he works with a certain level of artist or certain type of artist, and that wasn't the case. He was willing straight off the bat. So yeah, I think if you got talent and they think so too, and you connect, then it's pretty easy. Just approach them, tell them what you want, and form a plan.
So talking about approaching people, so would you ever put vocals onto one of your tracks?
Um,
Like in the upcoming albums?
with Truth Decade, yes, definitely, and I'll probably do some of those myself. In terms of under the banner of Ryno, Theron, or Voicelessness, I'm not too sure. I've spoken about it, and other people have asked. Maybe we'll see. There's some vocals on Howling Rush, but they're more melodic. They're not actual words. So yeah, as far as putting words, I don't know. If I got it, if I feel that I have anything to say, then maybe I'll put it down. We'll see.
So, can you sing as well?
I like to think so. Yeah. Okay. In terms of the metal type stuff, yeah, that I'm pretty comfortable with. I have sung in bands before and stuff, and I know the basics for it, and I can teach people how to sing. So yeah, I think I can. I'm a guitarist primarily, so yeah, I'm not a Mariah Carey, but I can hold a note, I think.
Well, at least if you can sing, you can hum along and you can be like, that's the vocals for the track.
Yeah, yeah. No, I've definitely got no problem with the melody and figuring it out and teaching it and explaining it to someone. So yeah, but
So, would you describe yourself as a person with a lot of patience? Because you've got a solid beard. So, there's always this saying that's like, okay, get yourself a person that has a solid beard because you know they've got patience.
yeah, I think I do, but my beard grows out quite quickly, so I've got to. Yeah, it's a bit unfair. I had a solid beard. I tried to trim it the other day, and I screwed it up. So, yeah, it's stubble at the moment, but it will be back soon. But I think I'm patient. I teach people how to play guitar, so yeah, maybe I think so. People tell me I'm patient, so I hope it's true.
So, the other day, you guys shot a music video for one of your songs. So, which song was it, and how was it to kind of direct your own music video?
Yeah, that was with Daniel Philogene, the same guy that produced the album. He's also a videographer. And yeah, that was the video for Sparks. I'm very happy with how it came out. I think he did a great job. It was quite a fun experience, except we had like a lot of smoke and stuff. We used a vape for the smoke machine and bubbles and stuff like that. So I almost drowned from that. And it tasted awful having the bubbles popping on me. And it was a good couple hours work. But I'm very happy with the final product. I think it came out great. The video is a lot of fun. It seems to fit the song as well. So definitely look forward to doing something like that again, another proper music video. So hopefully in the near future.
Definitely, especially when lockdown is like finished, completely
Yeah.
finished, then you can get back into that scene.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So, with that being said, do you have any plans for when lockdown finishes with your music and with your personal life?
Personal life will just be great to see family again. You know, my wife and I, we missing our parents. You know, like we see them when we need to help and stuff, but at the moment, obviously you want to be careful in terms of personal aspects. Definitely to see friends and family. I think that's the most obvious. In terms of music, I really just want to get out and perform again. I love playing live shows, so when that can happen again, and also hopefully to start touring again. I did a short Gauteng tour in the beginning of the year. I definitely look forward to expanding from that and hitting a lot of different parts of the country. That would be great.
So, as an artist that does tours, is it difficult for you to be away from your wife, especially when you do these tours, or does she go along with you?
So far, she's been along with all of them. If that gets busier, then that might not always be the case. But at this point, yeah, it's always been shorter tours. Yeah, if those get a bit longer and I do it a bit more frequently, yeah, then I'll definitely miss her. But we'll work around it.
You are so blessed to have someone that believes in your dreams and is willing to do so much for you. So,
Oh yes.
what do you do, and who would you say is Ryno Theron when he is not on stage or performing or touring or in lockdown?
Oh dear. I'm passionate about a lot of things. I enjoy a lot of things. I enjoy all things art. I like to paint and draw. That was actually my thing before music was drawing and painting. I probably thought I would have taken a career path with that initially. I'm very interested in history and all that sort of stuff. I collect comic books, so I'm a complete nerd when it comes to that. Yeah, I actually collect a lot of stuff. I'm busy looking around my lounge now. I've got like Star Wars toys and crap like that everywhere. I'm a YouTube addict. I YouTube way too much. um, but yeah, like for the deeper part of a question, I like to think I'm patient, and I do have a short temper if it comes to things with like traffic and stuff, I suppose. But I try to be kind. I try to be a good person. Yeah, I don't think anyone is really 100% good, but I try. So Yeah, yo, it's a deep question. I don't know how to introspect that well, but yeah, I definitely love my wife very, very much, and I love my family. So that's things that are important to me, of course, and friends, and and I love music. So yeah, and I love music for what it is. That's why I play a niche type of music and something that's not necessarily pop music, but I think it can connect with people because it's connected to feelings. And yeah, I think if you want to answer your question, you want to know who I am, listen to the album, and that will probably explain it best, I think. Yeah.
Definitely. I think everybody who listens to this episode should definitely go listen to your album just to understand the kind of person that you are and the artist that you are, because one cannot simply just or put into words how ambient music, like how it affects you and how you feel for it.
Yeah, well, I think that is the basis of it, is that it's not about the words. Yeah. So yeah, well said on you. Yeah, well said.
So, if you could choose one movie or series that you would want your music to play on, or at least one song, what movie or series would you choose?
I'd have to say Dark, although I think they're on their last season now on Netflix. But yeah, the series Dark, I'd definitely love to have some of my music on that, because the main song at the beginning, I think, is by a band called Apparat, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, it's a beautiful song. It's so good. So yeah, I think on something like that, it would be pretty cool. Or Stranger Things, maybe.
That
Yeah.
would be so cool for, especially for a South African artist to feature or their music to feature on a show that's that big.
Yeah, it would be great. Well, that's what I said with Ryan on the album. He got one of his songs on Criminal Minds, so like I was completely blown away by that. So that would also be pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, anything like that, I suppose. But yeah, I'm a big fan of Dark and Stranger Things, and I think my music would work for that. So yeah,
So, if you could choose one stage to perform on right across the entire world, what stage would you choose? Whether it be festival or just a normal concert or a Grand Ole Opry or something.
okay. Well, I actually prefer smaller scale shows. So yo, I don't know. There's this one fingerstyle guy. His name's Thomas Lieb, and he does a acoustic fingerstyle boot camp in Austria all the time. And I've actually really wanted to go to that myself. Maybe one day I will. It is part of the plan. So, like, they do have performances and stuff at that whole sort of boot camp. So, I think if I could ever get to play there with all the other like-minded musicians and in front of Thomas Lee, who I've met by the way, is a super cool guy. Yeah, I think to go play with my peers in that environment and that setting, and just in Austria like that, absolutely beautiful. I think that would definitely be the place. Yeah, at the I don't know what it's called where they do it, but yeah, it's just a awesome place in Austria where they do it. So I think that would be it at the Thomas Lee Boot Camp.
So, out of all the people that you've met and opened for or performed in front of, who would you say is one of the people that stand out the most that you've met?
I have to think about that one. I haven't opened for him yet, but I do intend to one day. Guy Battery is someone I definitely look up to a lot, but that's not really answering the question you asked. So yeah, I think I'm going to go with people I know personally, and I'm going to say the name on a drum, who I guess on my album, and they personal friends. But like seriously, those guys are so good, and I wish the world for them, and I wish that they could get the success that they deserve. They definitely are the standard of a type of artist that I enjoy. So yeah, name on a drum. I'm going to go with that.
So, very last question that I have for you. If you can give one motivational quote to people that want to be in the industry or people that are in the industry and simply have a mind block, what would it be?
Don't jump at every opportunity that comes your way. I know it sort of counters what a lot of people always say, but I mean it. Like you spoke earlier about the experiences of really bad managers and stuff out there, and that's what happens when you do that. When you get the first person that comes and offers you, like, "Hey, I've got this wonderful idea," and it actually ends up just tarnishing your career, or could create damage that takes years to come right, or possibly never comes right. So yeah, don't just jump at every opportunity that there is. Take your time, think about what you're doing, think about it, how it could enhance what you're doing, and think a little bit more in the long term with what you're doing. So I think that's definitely what I go with. Take your time, think carefully about what you do, and don't just jump at every opportunity. Jump at the right ones. It's easier said than done, but that's what you should do, I think.
That was amazing. Thank you so much for that great motivational quote that you have given, and also the inspiration that you give to so many artists, and for the role that you play in the South African scene. So it has been such an honor talking to you and getting to know you, and just putting your name on my podcast just means a lot.
Thank you very much for having me. It's yeah, it was good fun. Thank you for the awesome questions as well.